In a couple days, I am going on a trip that I've been looking forward to for a while. I'm heading out to do my first ever BDR, but not one of the full-size BDRs. I'm actually doing the PA Wilds BDR-X, and I'm going along with a group of friends. And because that's a 4-day adventure, I have to think about where I'm gonna sleep every night. And well, hotels are boring, especially when you're out trying to have an adventure. So I want to talk to you about my moto camping gear. What's up everyone, Matt here, and you're watching TS Moto Adventures. So yes, as I said, in a couple days I'm headed off to do my very first BDR, the PA Wilds BDR-X route, with a bunch of friends of mine. And what we've decided to do is we're gonna stay in a hotel one night and camp the rest of the time. So because of that, I had to get all my moto camping gear ready to go, and I figured this would be a great opportunity to talk to all of you about the stuff that I have, and then hear some feedback on what kind of stuff that y'all carry with you as well. One thing I will say about this trip as well is it's very special to me. We're starting this trip on the 1-year anniversary of me buying my DRZ. The day I start my first BDR run is the day 1 year ago exactly that I rode away from the dealership on my beautiful 2022 Suzuki DRZ 400S. And I am so excited because this is just a huge testament to how far I've come as a rider. Even though it shouldn't be too crazy, a year ago trying to do a route like this, I'm sure I would have been insane. So I'm really looking forward to this trip, and that's why I want to tell you about everything that I've got here. So as you can see, I've got everything laid out on the table here. Kind of looks like a lot, but it's also not really a lot. It pretty much mostly all packs down into my Moscow Moto bags on the bike. Some of it rides on top and gets strapped down as well, but for the most part, it's actually not too bad. So for starters over here, I've got a Rocky Mountain ATV MC large camp chair. This is the aluminum frame for it, and then that's the actual chair itself that kind of mounts onto here. I got this along with a lot of the other stuff that I have here about a year ago when I went to do the Zacher Adventures adventure riding course that I did. That was technically my first moto camping trip, but I don't really count it. I was there to do like a training course. I wasn't going on a proper adventure. But I picked a lot of this stuff up for that trip, this being one of the things. Never ended up using this while I was on the trip, but I will say, you know, not gonna lie, haven't been the happiest. The frame on this is kind of bent a little bit after just a couple uses. The bag it came with, the zipper broke, so I can't actually use this, which means I have to pack these down and like wrap them up and keep them secured separately, which is a little annoying. But part of that is just me being a bigger guy. It's not quite rated for my weight at the time. But either way, there's a bunch of different options out there, and I'm looking at trying something a little different. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. Moving down the line, I've got a Snugpak Travelpak 2 sleeping bag. This is more of a mummy style sleeping bag, and it's good down to temperatures of like 27 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a little insane. I think the biggest reason I got this was because I thought I was gonna do some more cold weather stuff that I actually have, but also it's blue, and I like blue. Bag's red, but inside it's blue, trust me. I have been really happy with this so far. The mummy style's not really for me. I kind of like to roll around a little bit at night, so it's a little bit tight. But at the same time, with this ride, there's a couple nights I think we're getting down to the low 30s, so this is gonna keep me nice and warm. So I've been pretty happy with it so far. So moving over, I got a Snugpak Basecamp Ops Air Pillow. This is a nice little inflatable pillow that goes in this tiny little bag here, and it's great because sleeping without a pillow sucks. One recommendation I do have for like inflatable pillows like this is to have some kind of a neck gaiter or something to wrap around it. So if you're like, your head's kind of sweaty and gross, it absorbs into this and not into this. So this stays cleaner longer, and you can just toss this in the washing machine or wash it off in a stream or something like that, so it's not as gross when you go to sleep the next night. I got that recommendation from Dork in the Road, actually. Thank you, Dork. So along with those, I got a Snugpak Basecamp Ops air mattress. This is a nice little single air mattress. It's got a foot pump built in. I've been pretty happy with it so far. I use it a lot actually, even in the trailer when I'm at rallies. It goes right on top of a cot. It's a little bit more comfortable. Adds some separation between you and the ground. My only complaint about this is the foot pump. There's not actually another way that I figured out how to inflate it without just sitting there for like 5 to 10 minutes and just kind of like stepping on it a bunch to pump it up with air. But other than that, it does work very nicely. It packs down super small like this, and it is comfortable. So I do recommend it. So up next, I've got my tent. It's a Kelty Late Start 2. This is a 3-season, 2-person tent. This thing is great. It takes like 5 minutes or less to fully set up, and it's actually pretty spacious on the inside. So as I said, I've only actually used this once, but it survived basically a monsoon. Like I literally set it up, and a couple hours later we had crazy wind and rain, and it was insane. And I got into this thing that night after the storm kind of passed a little bit, totally dry, didn't lose any of the stakes in the ground, and it was perfect. So I really like this tent, and I'm excited to use it on this trip so I can actually experience it out there in the wild a bit more. I did, with that purchase separately, a ground footprint for it. I could probably stuff this in here, but I've been keeping it separate just because it's, I don't know, it doesn't really take up any extra space, and it's convenient to be able to wring it out separately and try to not get the tent dirty with what's on the ground footprint. So with the camping side of things, I also have a headlamp, which I keep on my bike pretty much all the time. But this is super duper handy, especially at night when you get out of your tent and you gotta go in the woods and, you know, like use the bathroom or something. So it's great to just keep it on your head. The other thing I have is this little Lytra Torch 2.0. This is actually a light meant to go on a camera. It's a really small little thing. It's USB rechargeable. It's got a magnet on the bottom so you can stick it on things and it sticks there, and it's got this really nice rubber diffuser. So actually what I do is I tend to stick this in the tent so I have light in the tent, and then other than that, it's good as like an emergency signal or something like that. It's super duper bright. In the center here, I've actually got a spare 10-liter dry bag from Earthpak. This thing I got mostly just in case I needed to add some extra stuff into a dry bag to keep it dry, or, you know, if I've got like dirty clothes or something like that I don't want to keep separate from the fresh stuff, pop it in here so I don't really have to worry about it. Most of the time this stays empty, but it's a good just in case that I like to have. On that front too, I've also got some flip-flops. This is great if you're at campgrounds and using public showers there, or if you just kind of need to wander around camp a little bit, you don't want to wear big boots. So super duper cheap, super duper easy, and I got these neon green ones so you can't lose them. Up next, I've got an EcoFlow River Mini. This is a big ass battery unit with a built-in inverter. The big reason I'm bringing this along on this larger trip is so I can charge batteries for cameras, my phone, basically anything that I need to charge, this will charge and it'll last the entire trip without me needing to plug it in. It's definitely a little bit of an extra thing to have, and if it comes down to sacrificing, you know, space, I would probably get rid of it if I needed the extra space for something more important, but we're gonna see how it goes on this trip. It'll be the first time I'm actually bringing it motocamping. Over a little bit more, got some very essential things. This is, you know, food and sustenance. Obviously all things you want when you're out traveling and adventuring. Sometimes you get hungry. So got some Cliff Bars. I keep those with me all the time just in case. You know, you never know when you want a little bit of a snack. Got some camping cutlery. These are like fork, spoon, kind of serrated edge knife combo things. I'm pretty sure I got these from Walmart. They're like super duper cheap, a couple bucks, and they've actually come in handy a bunch of times. And I also recently just picked up this guy here, which is similar. It's a separate spoon with kind of a knife on an end and a separate fork, just because that spork thing is a little annoying sometimes. Hand sanitizer, super duper important. Big recommendation is always keep this with your cooking supplies. That way you know to kind of just clean your hands off before you start trying to make anything. You don't want to get sick. It's not fun, especially when you're in the middle of nowhere. I do have this camping stove set up. This is a Fire Maple Fixed Star 1. It is basically a Jetboil knockoff. So you've got the stove portion here. You've got the butane that you just kind of screw in. I did 3D print a fancy base for this, so I had something a little more sturdy for kind of unstable ground. And then the nice thing about this is you just pop some water into this guy here, you lock it in, and it heats it up nice and quick. You got the handles here, so you can kind of take it off without injuring yourself at all. And it does come with this little bowl, and everything there packs down all inside of it, so it's just the size of this unit, which is super duper nice. And then there's a little pocket on here that I actually put the my camping cutlery stuff in, so that way it's just kind of all self-contained and goes in this little mesh bag. So super duper nice. And I've been really happy with it. I've used it a few times so far, and I've never actually used a real Jetboil, but from what I've seen, I can't really tell the difference, and this is about half the price. So one last thing that I've got over here is this nice metal BDR BMW Moto Rad cup that I got from some rally. I think it may have been Dirt Days, I'm not 100% sure. But I've kept this in the trailer for a while, and I decided this might be nice to have with me just as a cup to like drink stuff. So I'm keeping that along with me as well. And the very last thing is this Wild Heart 30-liter dry bag duffel bag. This I've been using for a while actually on the back of my bikes. I tend to use it to store stuff, but in this instance, my clothes are going in here. So this is gonna keep all my clothes dry no matter what terrain we get into, and it's gonna ensure that I have like a dry pair of socks to change into at the end of the day, and a dry shirt, and a dry pair of underwear. You know, things that when they get really wet, it kind of sucks in the long term. So just things to think about, but with all of that said, it does pack down very nicely. It goes, for the most part, as I said, in the panniers on my DRZ. Some of it, like the tent, I keep on top, the chair I keep on top, and my clothes I keep on top because they don't really fit in the panniers that well. I probably could fit the tent in there if I tried hard enough, but it doesn't really matter that much to me. Plus, it gives me a little bit of back support when I'm riding, which is kind of nice. So, where can you get a lot of this stuff? Great question. Everything on this side right here, all the Snugpak, the kiltie, the tent, that stuff, all came from motocampnerd.com. Highly recommend Motocamp Nerd. They've got anything and everything you could ever need for camping, whether it is actually moto camping, whether you're backpacking, whether you're out there on a normal bike that's powered by yourself and not a really cool single cylinder engine like the DRZ. It's a great resource, and Ben, the owner, I've heard is absolutely fantastic. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him yet. I hope I do someday. But yes, please check out Motocamp Nerd if you've got any hankering for some kind of camping. Some of this other stuff has come from Amazon as well, and then the Rocky Mountain ATV MC chair came from Rocky Mountain ATV MC. But links for everything are in the description below if you are interested in any of it, so please check those out if you're looking to get some cool supplies here. Also, I'd love to hear what y'all have in your Motocamp packs. Leave a comment down below, let me know, let your fellow riders know, because some of you, I guarantee, have some really cool stuff that I haven't thought about and other people haven't thought about. So definitely leave that comment. If you like this video and you're interested in checking out more, check these two out right here. I guarantee they will impress, just like this one. I hope this one impressed you. But until next time, as always, remember, ride safe.